What up, guys? You're listening to another episode here on the Mindful Experiment. Excited to have you here and on tuning in with me as we discuss something that is very personal to me. I have no idea where this came from. I actually shared this in a speech, and then somebody was telling me it's from some artist or song. I'm telling you, I don't even know. But it's something that I've had in my life that I've made it a code. Now, I've talked about codes in my podcast before, and I'll do an episode or two in the near future about what codes are and how you use them in your life. It's literally like a programming code, like computer language, right? The code can only work in this way, and that's all it can do. It can't do anything else. And I really believe codes really shape our life. It shapes our mind and so much more. But what I want to share with you guys, because this is interesting times we're living in, and the energy, I don't know if you can feel it or not. You can tap in, you can feel this uneasiness. Sometimes you're feeling good, sometimes you're not feeling good, sometimes you're up and then you're down. You feel like, wow, I got good clarity in the world, and sometimes you don't have any clarity. And it's been very interesting, especially if you're more of an intuitive, an empath, you feel this more. And there's science behind this, guys. It's not like I'm talking crazy. You can look up something called the Schumann Residence, okay? I think it's a Schumann resonance, but Schumann's resonance. And what that is, it detects the vibration of the earth and where it's at and how it's changing. And it actually can predict big events coming before they happen. So real quick, I'll just share a quick story. In 9/11, when that happened, for some reason, 2.5 hours before the event, roughly around 2 to 2.5 hours, there was a massive spike in the Schumann's resonance, massively. And then we all know what happened. In America, that is. And so we've seen this from time to time. They've been monitoring this for years, and they try to predict what's going to happen. When the tsunami happened in Indonesia, and I believe it was Indonesia, please correct me if I'm wrong. But again, same thing. The Schumann resonance massively blew up a couple hours before that happened. So it can predict things in certain ways. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the energy and the feelings and things like that. But getting back to the point of today's episode, I want to talk to you about the power of never giving in. Okay. When I share a speech, I had an accepted speech. I got an award for being one of the top under 40. And so they chose, out of 33 communities, they chose 12 leaders in those communities. And I was very honored to be chosen as one. That was a very big award. I was very appreciative of it. I'll tell you something about awards afterwards when it comes into awards. But long story short, at the end of my speech, I said, never give in and never surrender. I said, it's a code that I live by, right? And I was telling everyone, just never get in and never surrender. Never get into your fears, never give into your worries, never get into your limited belief systems, never give into your whatever that is, the inner critic, the ego, whatever you want to call it. Never give in, right? Go get yours, right? Never give up. Never surrender, never walk away. A failure, a roadblock, an obstacle is just that. There are times you're going to see the mountain. There's times you're going to be on top of the mountain. There's times you're going to be in the valley. There's times you can see the vision is crystal clear, and there's times you're not going to be able to see anything. But the key is to never surrender, to never give up, to never move forward to the goal, to the vision, to the aspiration of what it is you desire. Okay? Now, you got to be crystal clear in that, though. You got to have a clear vision on what that looks like. And you got to give all in on that. You got to never give in to the negative. Never give in to the distractions. You got to make this yours, right? I was asked on a podcast, and they were telling me, what is the message of success that you would give an individual? Well, I said, it's the same message I tell patients when it comes to healing. And what that is as long as you stick with it and you do the work, you'll get the result. Some way, somehow, it's going to happen. The thing is, you don't know the time. You don't know the space. You have to travel through that to get to that certain point. But when you get there, you'll know, and it'll be awesome, and you'll appreciate it. But guess what? Since you don't know when that's going to happen, man, freaking enjoy the journey. Sit back and enjoy. And that's why you never want to give in to whatever it is that's going to show up, because you're always going to have the inner critic. You're always going to have that opposition. You're always going to have that thing, okay? So this is where it becomes a code. And so I have stinking thinking. I got negative thoughts. I'm human like just anyone else. And there's times in my life where there are times it gets the best of me. There are times I make it catch myself, and I've gotten better over the years, right? This is not something I've learned overnight and I mastered. Heck, I didn't master it. I'm still learning it. But what I've learned over time is that I've been able to ask the aspect of learn how to catch it faster. That's been very critical for me, is knowing how to catch it faster. Because then I'll know when I'm getting in that rut, I'll know when I'm getting in that process, right? Because I've given in to distractions. I've given in to the thought processes. I've given in to the noise around me. May it be the world, may it be social media, may it be clients, whatever it is. And I have to get back and recenter, but I'll catch myself faster and faster and faster. I don't have bad weeks anymore. I don't even know if I have bad days. Those are rare in their sense. I'll get a bad hour, maybe a bad few hours. That's about it, because I'll recenter, regroup, and rechannel and get my energy where it needs to. The more I focus into something, the more I know it's going to exist more into my life. And so I want to put my energy there. I'd rather figure out why it showed up in the first place. Why am I putting myself there? And then make the transition. Okay. So when it comes, this is a short one today, guys. I don't have much to really dive into because I think this is powerful enough. Is that if you just know not to give in to your distractions, know not to get, because they're going to show up, they're going to be there, that inner critic, that little monkey in your head, or the gorilla, or the alligator, or the whatever you want to call it. You give it a name, or you label it as an animal, it makes it that much lighter. And I did a podcast just last week. I interviewed somebody who called the monkey, Mr. Monkey and Me, or the monkey in my head. And great podcast. You can learn no more about it. The book's awesome also, but I highly recommend it because it's things that you can learn how to handle this inner critic and how to know it's always going to be there. It's evolving and adapting to life just like you are. So guess what? It's always going to show up. It changes as it gets smarter, just like you do. So no matter how much you become a master, know it's always going to be there. It knows your weakest points. It knows all that. But the key thing is never give in and never surrender. Surrender is giving up. It's walking away. It's never following your dreams. You had a hard moment. Oh, well, I'm done. No, why surrender? Don't surrender to that. Keep moving forward. Keep thriving. You get 100 no's, that's fine. You're going to get that yes eventually. It's going to show up, and then eventually you'll start to see more of those. It's just like when I'm working with patients and it comes with symptoms and pains. I tell them, you're eventually going to see it, right? Really, because there's three outcomes in chiropractic when someone goes to one, and that's going to be better, worse, or same. Not one journey is better than the other. They're all the same. It's just different experiences for the individual on their healing journey, okay? And so sometimes people fall into that same category, which means they're the same each visit. Nothing's changing, right? And they expect a change. And I always tell them, don't worry about it. The body is going to, when it's ready, it will make that change. When it's ready, it will go and do what it has to do. But you just keep doing the work, right? You keep doing the work no matter what. That's why I love chiropractic principles so much, because it relates to life. It's universal. When it comes to chiropractic, you got to be consistent. You got to continually do the work. You got to show up all the time, every single time. But you have to be consistent in your work, and you got to be repetitive, and you'll get the results. Well, life's the same way. If you don't show up with consistency, I don't care what you do, you're not getting there. You can go up to the plate and try to hit a home run in baseball every single time. And yeah, you may do it once in a while, but research has shown that if you just be consistent and get up and just try to make a hard contact, if you hit a single, I heard this story, and I'll share this with you guys. I've done it on a podcast before, where if I go up to the plate and all my goal is every day is just to get a single, that's all I care about. I don't care about nothing else. All I want to do is show up, get up to the plate, and hit a single. That's all I care about. If I do that every single day, well, I'm not going to score a run on the first day. Not going to happen. I'm not going to score a run on the second day. Hell, I'm not even going to score a run on the third day. Right? And sometimes you'll hear somebody who hit a home run on the first shot. And they're like, oh, yeah, look what I did, and this, and they're bolting and sharing all that. And if you give in to that distraction, that noise, you're going to change what's designed for you. So you get in, you go to, all I care about, man, I just want to hit a nice single, right? Single. Next day, I'm coming up, right? Pa, single. Next day, coming up. Pa, single. Day number 4 comes. It's my day. Why? I'm going to hit that single. What do? I'm focusing on that single. I go, bam, I hit that single. Guess what now? I got to run. Now, from this moment on, I got momentum. What's going to change? Next day, what's going to happen? I hit a single. What's going to happen? We get a score. Now I got 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs. Now I'm starting to build up momentum. Where the home run person who's trying to go all big all at once, whiff, miss, strikes out. Next time, whiff, strikes out. Next time, boom, see ya, baby. That's what it's all about. Next time comes up, whiff, or pops up, whatever. And what happens is, in the long run, the one who goes up and shows up for the single every single time is actually going to be outscoring the one who tries for the home run every single time. Because in life, you're not going to hit a home run all the time. I would say if it happens to be a home run for that day, great. Next day, go for the single. Don't try to get the big one. I've learned this in trading. I'm in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and all that stuff. I've been in it for years. But it's one of the things where I learned when I had a massive day, I'd be blown away about how much I would gain in a day. And I'm like, all right, great. Next day, next trade, I'm going to do the same. There's a beautiful thing that happens. It's called set in reality. And all of a sudden, I'll lose all my gains and more. And I'm like, what happened here, right? It's in life when you get that type of experience and you think it should be this way. You know, it's the same thing with the turtle and the hare, right? The story. The turtle, consistent, slow, easy moving. The hare speeding like crazy, falling and tumbling, but still doing what it's doing, right? It's running, think it's going to win the race. But the one who's consistent and does the work gets the results. Never give in to distractions. Never surrender to what your goal, your dream, your reality is. You have one thing in this life, and that life is to experience it. Experience it on your terms and how you want to, because that, at the end of the day, is all that's going to matter. At the end of the day, you're going to only have regrets because you didn't do what you wanted to do, and you gave in to the distractions. You gave in to the noises, the limited belief system, the inner critic. You gave in to that. And your job is to never give in and never surrender. Make this life priceless and make that a code. And always remember that. If you can remember anything from today's podcast, just keep telling yourself, make it a mantra. Never give in, never surrender. And you'll start to hear it more and more. You'll start to see it when it comes up in life. When you get that inner critic, that little monkey starts talking, right? And it starts to run its mouth at you. Never give in, never surrender. And you continue to move forward. And I promise you, by living that and that alone, it will transform your life. It has done it for me. I mean, I know where I came from, my upbringing, and I know where I'm at now. Hell, I know where I want to go. And it's one of those things where in my life, for where the beginning phase was from point A to point B, man, if I listened to people, if I gave in to the noise, and if I surrendered, man, I wouldn't create what I've created today. I wouldn't have the life that I had today. And I'm very blessed in so many ways. I'm very honored, very blessed. I'm very grateful for all that I have. It took a lot of hard work to get here. A lot of struggles, a lot of obstacles, you know, and a lot of things that I had to go through to get there. But you know what? The one thing that I kept telling myself is I believed in myself, but more importantly, I never gave in and I never surrendered. And I wish that's the same for you. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to the podcast if you're not haven't already. And if you love it, please share a review. It helps massively with the podcast, and let us know what you think and and if there's something you want us to talk about, I'd be more than happy to chime in for you guys. As always, I appreciate you. Until next time, much love and respect.